This video is brought to you by Extra. Go to metkevin.com/extra to learn more. Well, folks, we've got a lot to talk about because I'm about to play you the Lucid Air Dream Edition review, which I bought and paid over $169,000 for. And I filmed this video within about the first week of owning it, but I've got to give you an update. So yesterday on February 21st, 2022, there was a recall calling for 204 Lucid Air Dream Edition vehicles to be returned to Lucid for an update that had to do with something that could malfunction within the front bumper of the vehicle and could affect braking or potentially steering. Well, unfortunately, something happened to my Lucid yesterday that was not related to this recall. As we pulled the Lucid out of the garage, my father-in-law was driving, we pulled the Lucid out of the garage, all of a sudden, a lot of lights came on and started flashing warning indicators that the steering for the car had failed. The car steering column had completely frozen up to where it was almost as if the steering wheel was locked, but if you pushed hard enough, you could still turn the wheel. It was just probably somewhere around 5 to 6 times as difficult as a power steering wheel, based on, well, my conversation with my father-in-law who was driving at the time. And the car unfortunately had to be towed to the Lucid facility in Torrance. Now, it has been confirmed that whatever issue this vehicle had is so far not related to the recall. It is a separate issue. And it's unclear why the steering malfunctioned. The steering was working totally fine since we got the car. And having parked it in the garage, nothing happened to the car, obviously, in the garage, other than pulling it out and turning it on, and all of a sudden the steering had just completely failed. So a little odd on that. I wanted to give that disclaimer here up front. And also a disclaimer that unfortunately my mic placement in the video that I'm about to play for you wasn't ideal, so you're gonna hear a little bit of ruffling. I apologize for that. I almost didn't want to post the video because it personally bothers me, but I thought, hey, you know what? The information I think is more valuable than the noise is annoying, at least hopefully. Let's get into it.
Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Today we are finally reviewing the Lucid Air Dream Edition, and I'm going to tell you exactly which number of production this vehicle is as well, which is kind of exciting because we took delivery the 3rd week of January of this vehicle. Lucid had a very ambitious goal of delivering 550 of these by the end of Q4 2021. We got this the 3rd week of January. We're going to talk about which number Lucid we are and what we think about the car after having the vehicle now for just a little over 2 weeks. So let's get into the car. But first, one of the things I have to say that I absolutely love is when you drive this car around, everybody looks at it. It is a head turner of a car. And when you look at it, probably one of the reasons for that is this two-toned color that the vehicle has. This is by far my favorite, sort of a burgundy style metallic paint color as well. You can choose multiple different Lucid options. By far, I recommend this one as my favorite, and also what I've seen a lot of other folks recommend them, though the other colors are great as well. This two-tone though, big head turner here. And one of the things that you'll notice on the Lucid over, for example, a Tesla, at least what we found, is the attention to the detail is a lot better. One of my biggest takeaways of the car is that this car seems to be something that somebody maybe in that age range between 45 and 65 might really enjoy, especially if they're looking for that Mercedes/BMW style finish. You'll see that on the inside as well. Whereas Tesla seems to appeal more towards that 25 to 45 male demographic. Lucid, I think, might more equally appeal to males and females, but also that older demographic looking for maybe more of that attention to detail. And I think that's where Lucid really takes off. Now, is it worth the extra money? This vehicle right here was $169,000. It's the top of the line vehicle that they have. They plan to come out with less expensive vehicles in the future. Car has a 0 to 60 of 2.4 seconds, which is a little bit less than the Model S Plaid, which cites a 1.9 0 to 60, although that doesn't include that first foot roll off. So it's really more like a 2.1 for the Tesla Model S Plaid versus a 2.42 on the Lucid Lucid here. On sport mode, it does have over 1100 horsepower. When you're in comfort mode, it drives at about 600 horsepower, so you've got a really good kick no matter which comfort setting you're in. And the battery's got a 471-mile range, which I think is really incredible. This is the performance model. There are two styles. One is the longer range, which boasts the 520-mile range. This is the model that's a little bit quicker, but you sacrifice about 40 to 50 miles of range on it. So let's take a look at both the front and the trunk, and then we'll go ahead and hop in to the car and we'll take it for a spin. There we go. Now, one of the things that I do like about the Lucid over the Tesla here is that when you hold down the key, it actually has a motor to open and shut the frunk. And I really appreciate that because for a $170,000 vehicle, I feel like it should have extra luxuries, and the Tesla Model S Plaid doesn't do that. So this is going to be, I'm going to be regularly comparing to the Tesla Model S Plaid, which I think that's the point. A nice frunk space here. You do also have this little, usually you only see this in trunks where you have sort of another layer where you could put things underneath. And so I really like that. You have a very deep frunk here, and this sort of foldable cover here feels very nice and sturdy, which is really important in these. One of the issues I had in my Tesla Model X was I put heavy objects on the back and then it broke and sort of fell through in the trunk. But again, actually having this deep storage compartment in the front, very nice. And they do also have a button here that if I hold the button, it'll automatically close this. So no more putting your hands on the hood and trying to slam it down. Something that's very nice. One of the things that folks love about the Lucid is the fact that it also comes with Lidar. This is your Lidar sensor here. It's got 14 cameras throughout the vehicle. We've got radar, obviously the sonar radar everywhere, but the big selling feature here is that in the future they expect to have autonomous driving capabilities. Right now they don't yet, and that's one of the downsides of Lucid right now is that they don't even have the adaptive cruise control yet. Now that's expected to be released within the next few weeks, but I've also been hearing that it's expected to be released in an over-the-air update within the next few weeks for the next few weeks. I've been hearing about that for a while. So at some point in the future, we'll get more and more self-driving technologies, especially cruise control, which I feel like is a bare minimum that we should have that we don't have right now. It's got the technology, just doesn't have the best software yet to make that happen, apparently. So here's our trunk, also with the automatic open and closer. One of the things that I thought was really ingenious about this trunk, though, is I've regularly wanted to put things in my trunk only to realize that I need to put the seats down, and then whether it's on the Tesla or almost any other car, you have to go open the side doors, run around and put the seats down. One of the benefits of the Lucid is this. I can just pull this lever here and it pushes the seat and releases the seat and the seat belt of both the bench and the side seat. And now if I were to push something in, the seats would just fall forward. So I don't have to walk around. It's those little luxuries that I think were quite brilliant for Lucid. Now over here, you get a little bit less visibility into the trunk, just the way the vehicle is designed, but you do have a decent amount of space here. Another compartment where you can place more objects down here. Decent size, also very sturdy here. And Tesla has really improved their sturdiness of these back compartments as well. Another thing that's pretty neat is, and we'll show you this on the inside, but they do have a hatch here. So if you were going to put in skis or some form of longer objects, you could get a nice 6-foot distance from trunk to the inside through that little hatch hole there. So we'll go ahead and close this off. The color, really remarkable in the sun. When you get into the shade, sometimes it's a little bit harder to tell the color of the vehicle. So for example, if we come around to this side, you lose a little bit of that really majestic burgundy color, and it turns into a little bit more of a, oh, is that black? Is it just dark red? What is it? So in the sun is when this really stands out. I also really enjoy these hubcaps. I think they've got a really nice finish, and these are probably an aluminum cap here. So unlike the Tesla Model 3, which, as you would expect, it's not plastic. This is much nicer. Feels again more luxurious, higher quality, and again that attention to detail here, even to where the nuts for the wheel have been either powder coated black or whatever to really blend in with the aluminum lid that you have here. So really nice work. Low profile wheels, of course. Now, one thing that's a little weird coming from a Tesla is you have this temptation to push the handle here, which you're not supposed to do. You can, and if you push this down, it will open or it will search for a key that's close. But the handles are supposed to present themselves when the key comes close. You're not supposed to push down on it, so that is something for Tesla owners that's a little bit of an adjustment. But very nice quality feel on the doors. The mirrors open and close, obviously, when the vehicle locks or unlocks. Okay, so let's now hop on into the inside and get to the meat and potatoes. So now we're inside the Lucid, and one of the first things that I absolutely love about this is you've got this really neat looking suede right here that contrasts with the wood veneer, and then physical buttons here. The physical buttons, I will say, one thing that does bother me about the Tesla is not having physical buttons for adjusting the temperature control. You do have controls on your steering wheel, but having nice buttons for just quickly adjusting the temperature, very, very nice here.
But now for a quick word from our sponsor, Extra. Go to metkevin.com/extra to learn more. Folks, getting into real estate, in my opinion, is one of the best long-term ways to build your wealth. But to get started in real estate, you gotta have a credit score and you gotta stay out of consumer debt. And for those of you who are younger, or maybe you ran into some trouble in the past, there are very few ways to raise your credit score other than getting a credit card. And if you don't use a credit card properly, you could actually ruin your credit score more and prevent yourself from building wealth. However, the Extra debit card now allows you to have the best of both. You can build your credit score without incurring debt, and it gives you 1% cash back in rewards. See, the best part about the Extra debit card is, first of all, it's super easy to use because it connects to the existing bank account you already have. Then, once you connect Extra to your existing bank account, you make purchases on the Extra debit card just like you would with any other card. Extra then spots you for the money, pays themselves back the next day from your bank account, so you're spending money that you have. But because of that process, they can report to the credit bureaus that you paid a credit line off timely, and now you can build your credit score with a debit card. It's super easy to use, so go to metkevin.com/extra to learn more.
And again, very beautiful, luxurious finish and feel. You look at it and you see the speakers, how they're seamlessly built in over here. And you can't help but feel like it's a luxury vehicle. Like this is a $180,000 vehicle. There are no corners cut. The finishes everywhere you look, the trim fits. The rubber seals aren't coming peeling off, which even on my Tesla Model S Plaid, which I've had for a month, I've already got a rubber seal right here that's peeling off. You just don't see some of those quicker imperfections. Now, that doesn't mean this vehicle is perfect. One of the things that does bother me is that when you're driving and you need to use this center console here, you have to look down. So let's give an example here. Let's say I'm driving the vehicle like this, and I need to do something on my center console. Like, for example, I want to switch to the sprint mode from smooth mode. I really have to take my eyes off the road to look down here. And that's, to me, a little bit dangerous. I much prefer having the console here in front of me rather than down below. Now, when you do switch from comfort to sprint mode, it does also regularly give you this warning here that sprint mode enables maximum power and torque, recommended to only be used by skilled and advanced drivers under suitable driving conditions. With Lucid specification summer tires installed. This warning, I think there should absolutely be a little button here that says never show me this again, because quite frankly it's a little exhausting every single time I switch from smooth to sprint to get this warning. I got it, I never want to see it again, so that bothers me a little bit. Something else that's interesting is there are many redundancies that I don't know are the best. For example, if you want to open the charging port, and I go into park here, and I want to open the charging port, I could press this button right here to open the charging port, which opens it up over here. I can go into the openings menu over here, and I can open the charging port through this method. In this case, I just closed it. And then the third method is just touching it and pushing it on the outside, which it seems like one of these, at least one of these, is unnecessary. So one of the things as an investor that I love about Tesla is that they try to minimize those extra redundancies, because that just ends up going into profit. Now sometimes focusing on extra profit, I feel like, can come at the expense of taking away some conveniences for the customer. Personally, I'd really like to have an automatic open and closing frunk on the Model S Plaid, which you have here, but you don't have there. That, in my opinion, is just another way for Tesla to farm additional profit, which you can't blame them for that. But these sorts of redundancies would be an easy simplification for Lucid, I think, to simplify their manufacturing processes. But that's just one example. One thing that might explain why we have the opportunity to have a charging button here is because we can actually make this screen disappear, which is quite neat. If we slide up right here, this screen slides away and disappears, and now we can place whatever we want over here. We've got another little storage compartment here. This is one thing that's neat is if you're not familiar with the Lucid, and let's just say, worst case scenario, somebody broke into your car or whatever, that might be a pretty safe spot. You can kind of see through it over here, but I don't think it's very intuitive for people to think that you can make this entire screen disappear. As an owner, of course, you would know that. Not suggesting that anybody wants to get broken into, and not saying that this would absolutely stop somebody either. Now, one thing this vehicle does have as well is facial recognition. So when you create a profile under settings, we'll go over here to access and profiles. Once you create a different profile, which right now it's under my father-in-law Bill, that's because I have given my father-in-law Bill this car, so he has been loving it, and he's lending it back to me today for this review. One of the things that's neat is you could set up multiple different profiles here, and there's a little camera under the speedometer here. That's kind of like Face ID on the iPhone, or really any smartphone at this point, and it will automatically adjust your seat and your preferences to your profile based on identifying your face, which is great. That's something that the Tesla doesn't have. You'd have to manually click on different profiles for the seat adjustments or whatever. You can also turn on, which I'm not sure how I feel about this, but you can also jump over. The screen is a little not as responsive, I've noticed. Sometimes it has a little bit of a lag to it. You could also turn on seat massagers in the front. So there we go. You could set up multiple different massages and different styles of massages and different strengths here. Because it is a seat that's very, very comfortable, unlike a massage chair. You know, in a massage chair, you sit in it and it's off. You still feel the plastic knobs in that. This you don't. You would have no idea this is a massage chair unless I showed you this setting or told you it was a massage chair. But because of that, you get a little bit of a less effective massage, I'd say. I think it's a little bit more like a vibrating chair. So I'm not sure if this is necessarily something I would pay for if it were an option. If they come out with the less expensive Lucid models, which we expect, I would imagine this is going to be one of the features that ends up disappearing. But they have this for driver-passenger. Another thing that I love, though, which I do think is missing from a lot of vehicles, first of all, many different options for adjusting the seat. In addition to bringing out a thigh support, which is quite interesting. I can extend a thigh support, and right here under my legs, the seat actually extends forward, which is quite an incredible adjustment. You can get this moving out quite far. They do not yet have the model, and they expect to in the future, where in the future in the back, you might actually be able to lie the seats down to some degree. That's not out just yet. But I wanted to talk about the seat heating. And that's probably under this little climate section here. There we go. The seat heating, what's really incredible here is you can heat two different sections. So there we go, we'll turn the heater on. So I can heat my back, or I could just heat the seat. And I really think that is an incredible innovation that they have the heater for the back and the seat separate. So that way, if I just wanted my bottom or just my back, I have that choice. Now, there are seat heaters in the back as well, though I don't have that dual control for the back. There is also steering wheel heating and cooling, which was also quite neat. Another thing that's super neat is as long as you have the vents open for the feet compartment, you can actually turn on cooled seats. So if you wanted to, you could program this to precondition the car on a hot day to cool your back and bottom, so that way you sat down on cooled seats. And the way it does that is it pulls air in from under the seat and brings that through the seat, so it sort of comes out through the little holes of the leather here. Really, really incredible feature. I haven't seen that before, so I love some of these extra luxuries. They also have themed lighting, which is a little harder to see right now. It works really well during the nighttime. The trim around the doors and the sills can change color. One of the things that I really wish they had when we changed this sort of mood lighting here is I wish, rather than just having a brightness control, they let me pick whatever color I want. Right now I only have 6 options here, and I expect that because this is an LED strip, maybe that's something they could introduce in the future. But if you didn't like the teal, the blue, or the purple, or the pink, you're kind of stuck. You're limited to the color options that they give you. I think this is like a yellowish over here, like the Lucid color. So this should be more like a Philips Hue, where I have a full range of colors that I could choose from. Charging is done with Electrify America. These vehicles can charge very, very quickly, and remember, we get up to 470 miles with this one. And if we start preconditioning to charge this on a supercharger, we can charge to 80% within 20 minutes on this vehicle, which is quite incredible. Really, really good battery management. And that's one of the things that Lucid really prides itself on, is their battery technology, their battery management technology. So very incredible. Now, hopping over here to the center console, one thing that I didn't love as much is this right here, not as nice as the Tesla. With the Tesla Model S, I could kind of tap on this here and then it automatically retracts. This feels a little tight depending on how cool or warm it is in the day. And then when I do finally get it all the way back and we take out, for example, the masks that are in here, because, well, it's California. If I take my phone and I want to charge my phone in the car, I can't fit it with a case, unfortunately, in the little charging slot here, which is not ideal. If I even took it out of the case though, it's quite tight. And one of the things, the issues that I've had is once I stick it in, I've actually never gotten it to show up a charge yet. So I've kind of given up on the idea of using the charger that's built into here. The Tesla makes it very nice in that you could put your phone down and through the case or whatever, it's going to give you that inductive wireless charging. Now, because I'm going to be talking about her, I have disabled Alexa, but this car does come with Alexa. One of the things that I don't love about it though, is it seems like the Alexa that they've set up is really more of a third-party API pull from Alexa, so it's not the Alexa that you think it is. It's named Alexa. It could pull some things, like it could help you navigate, it could tell you what time it is and basic things. But if you said, for example, hey Alexa, add batteries to my shopping cart, you get this error message that says this third-party software is not supported with that feature. And I think that's a little bit of a bummer. So you're not really getting the full Alexa experience. There are opportunities though, or there will be, I'm told, in the future, to add Siri and Apple CarPlay in the future. I'm not exactly sure when that's expected to come out. Usually with car manufacturers, they like to tell you that, oh, it's coming, but it can take a little bit longer for things to actually come out. Now you get to log in, of course, to your Alexa app through Amazon, Spotify, Tidal, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, and so on and so forth. No CarPlay yet, expected to be coming, and again, the Alexa kind of, I would say it's like 20% Alexa and 80% kind of weird delayed voice recognition software. So not the best, but that is something that could easily be updated through an over-the-air update. Now, let's give the car a little bit of a drive, and what I do want to show off is something that I think is wonderful, and that is the parking feature of the vehicle. So let's give this a little bit of a drive here, and we'll find some cars to park between, and we'll give it a park. One thing while we're driving it, and it might be a little bit hard to hear on the camera, but you definitely hear the engines a lot more in this car. Let's try to give that a listen here and see if you can hear it. So we'll be quiet here and I'll just give it a little bit of gas here and see if you can hear that engine. You definitely hear it more than you would on a Tesla. It doesn't sound bad. It's not by any means obnoxious or offensive, but you could definitely hear it. And this is on comfort mode. If we throw this onto sprint mode, you end up hearing the vehicle a lot more. Let's go ahead and jump on into sprint mode, and let's give it a comparison to sprint mode. That's not bad. So not much of a difference in sprint mode, but you do notice the sound a lot more than you would in a Tesla. So you're hearing the mechanics of the engines and the battery much more. I don't think it's by any means, like I said, offensive. It is just something that's different. When you're in this, you definitely hear the engine and battery functioning a lot more than you would in a Tesla. One of the things that does bother me about the car is it makes a lot of noises, a lot of sounds, and these are controllable ones. in terms of chimes. I kind of wish they had a Joe mode in the Lucid. Joe mode in the Tesla was essentially an opportunity to reduce the volume of all of the alerts by a substantial percentage so that it wouldn't wake children up who might be sleeping in the back. And that was because somebody named Joe was complaining to Elon Musk on Twitter that the chimes were too loud. I don't believe we have that option here on the Lucid, and I will say the chimes are a little loud. You also have menu sounds. And you can see a little bit of a lag in the sound there. It's minor, but the screens do take a moment. So you can see the lag if I click here, how long it takes to actually jump. Yeah, it's okay. It's definitely not as responsive as, let's say, an iPad. But okay, let's give this thing a little 0 to 60 here. This does not have a cheetah mode, at least not that I'm aware of. Let's see if I hit the brake and the gas and we were actually in drive. I don't actually expect anything. Yeah, see, the car does want to try to go. So no cheetah mode here. That's okay. So we're going to go ahead and give this a little 0 to 60 here. We are on sprint mode. And let's see how it goes. It's not bad. So a little bit of a bumpy road here. The 0 to 60 definitely isn't as much of a punch as the Tesla Model S Plaid, but then again, that's that difference of about those 0.3 of a second. Driving the Plaid all the time could make me jaded, but this is very, very incredibly fast, and quite frankly, it's probably more fast than any car really needs to be. So I would not say that somebody should buy the Plaid for the 0.3 of a second. And this has a lot of power in it. You really feel that 1100 horsepower. The car feels good. It feels tight while it's going. Even just mid-drive accelerations as well are really powerful and incredible. You see that as well on the highway. If you're going 65 miles an hour and you quickly need to pass somebody, you're able to go from 65 to 90, not that you want to, very, very quickly, which is quite incredible. So very, very impressive. I think there might be a little bit of a lag time, though, between when you hit the gas, well, I suppose it's not really the gas anymore, the accelerator, and when the vehicle actually launches. It's very, very slight, but I'm gonna give that a little try here again. Just so we can see the launch right here. Let's see if there's any lag time. I feel like I noticed that in the last time. All right, foot on the gas, and we're ready to go in 3, 2... Yeah, I feel a little bit of this, you can almost hear the engine make this sound, and then it goes. I'm gonna do that one more time. So I'm gonna push in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it feels like there's like this, like it's shifting into gear kind of mode. So fractional of a second difference in terms of performance, but it's something that is noticeable. By the way, also, if somebody else is trying to get in the car and you're trying to unlock one of the other car doors, I haven't found the best way to do that, because right now we're in park. And if the car is locked, all the handles are in. If the car is unlocked, the handles come out. But sometimes you don't have the best responsiveness on the door handles on the outside. Even though the handle pops out when he touches the handle to prompt it, because the car is locked, it's not letting someone pull on the handle to open it, which makes sense. But then why is the handle popping out in the first place? So that's a little weird, that the handle's popping out to essentially imply that you could open the door. So sometimes that quick in and out loading at the back door is probably not the best. Or maybe we're just doing it wrong, but it's something we noticed. Oh, and given that someone in the back is not buckled up, leave that for a second. Listen to the sound of it. They're really good at making their sounds kind of annoying, which I get it for being buckled up, but that's actually the rear seat buckle, and I haven't seen that before, where it pings you for a rear seat. Now, another thing that's pretty neat is, see that sunscreen at the back of the car? Well, when I put the car in reverse, watch what happens. The sunscreen automatically collapses to maximize your view out of that window. And when I go back and drive, it doesn't do it instantly, but usually after about 30 seconds, that sunscreen comes right back up. Now, let's go ahead and give this thing a park and see how the auto park feature works, because I will say, having all of the cameras, the Lidar, and the radar, all of these technologies together, The auto park is absolutely incredible. So let's just try to park in between some of these tight cars, tightly parked cars over here. We'll pick one and we'll see how it performs. The Tesla does this well when it feels like it. That's one of the problems, is the Tesla does not always give me the option to auto park, so I almost never auto park with the Tesla because I rarely get the option to. It just doesn't pop up. This one does tend to consistently pop up though, so let's give it a shot over here. Hearing that engine and that battery noise again a little bit more, it is definitely different from the Tesla. Let's see if we can fit in here. So now we're gonna hit auto park. So this is the spot that I want. I'll turn the auto park on now. Now I'm gonna drive forward to give it an idea, to be aware to look for this gap over here. Drive forward slowly, and then this is where I would start the park. There we go. Select a spot. There's really only one. Perfect. It's identified that there's only one now. To start auto park, release brake and steering wheel. No problem. Here we go. Auto park is now in progress. Oh, it's going into the driveway. It thinks it's a driveway again, dude. Well, that did not work well. So here's a really tight spot. It does see a spot available, so it thinks it can make it. So hold brake, select a parking spot. Let's select, and here we go. Let's see what happens. I'm kind of nervous. This is really tight. And again, I don't think it's recognizing this as a parallel parking spot, which is something that it's done multiple times now. Yep, it definitely thinks this is a back-end spot. Now, this is probably the third time we've tried this, and while I've had phenomenal experiences before, at this point, this is just funny. So I'm just gonna let it park the way it thinks it wants to park. Stop before the curb, oh my God, dude. Okay, I hit the brake there because we were for sure about to hit the curb. I'm not sure what it thinks on the screen here is happening, but let's go ahead and take a look at what the car just saw versus what was on screen. And this is with the Lidar and all these other sensors, okay? And I used to have good experience auto parking this, but let's go take a look at what it's doing. We stopped before hitting the curb, but we only stopped before hitting the curb because I frantically hit the brakes. So this is the auto park. This is about the third time I've tried, and it has auto backed itself in. I did have to stop it myself, but you know, it didn't hit another vehicle. It was about to hit a curb, but that's okay. We prevented that from happening. So I don't know if it has Lidar in the back. We do know it has that forward-facing Lidar, so who knows? But a little bit disappointed in that, but oh well. Technology might still be developing. So maybe don't trust the auto park yet. Okay, one click locks the car. Double click unlocks the car. Now I can come over here, push, I believe, onto the bottom or the top corner here. There we go. I do really like that. I think that's very luxurious how it does that. So I'm not exactly sure how to close that manually from the outside. It might just be a time thing. Does the door, oh, look at that. The door functions nicely with the charge port like that. That's fine, as you would expect. Now, one thing that is neat is we have 4 little rail protrusions here between the glass. And these are for ski racks that you could add either aftermarket, or I'm not sure if Lucid manufactures any, but that's what these are for. Okay, let's go ahead and hop on into the back here. You see, pushing down into the handle, bad idea, bad habit that I have. It's better to take the actual remote and double click to unlock. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and lift on this here. Perfect. This is my favorite part about the Lucid. It's sitting in the back and not driving. Everything back here feels really nice and luxurious. I love the leather handle hold here. There's just so much space though. There's comfort for your legs. In the future, if they have captain's chairs here, I can absolutely see these lying down. There's so much space, and I really like that. Now this is kind of neat. If I open this compartment here, not only do I get this cup holder here, but I also get another little center console, which I think is quite neat. The Tesla Model S Plaid does not have this, so I really enjoy this feature here, and it just feels great. The stitching is beautiful on the vehicle, and it just, you just want to touch it. It's kind of weird, but it is obsessively nice. The way it feels, the way it smells, the way it looks, and the differences that you have here as well, with leather here to this sort of leather stitching that changes to the front actually having a darker colored seat. You've got the black and the beige stitching here with this cloth here and a more leatherette style plastic finish here, and then a different style here. So really, I mean, the amount of different materials in this car makes it very, very interesting. I can't imagine the cost of this. I mean, even just looking at this shot right here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different materials just in this piece right here, not to mention the little accent of metal or plastics that we have elsewhere. So really, really incredible. I mean, so much work and detail into this. I do not love the light carpeting that they have. I would recommend getting darker weather mats here that would dirty less, but then you might take away a little bit of that luxurious feeling. This is where that ski thing comes through, which is kind of neat. There we go. There's that hatch. And inside there is also a glow-in-the-dark child safety release, which is quite neat if child gets stuck in the trunk for some reason. You have the option of turning on the rear sunshade or stowing it, which happens automatically if the car gets placed into reverse. I kind of like having it up. There we go. Extend rear sunshade. We'll just go ahead and give that a little click here. I like that a lot. And another thing that I like is the window here. I'm gonna close this door here. And I really like that when the window is closed, you can lift up again and drive up the sunshade on the back windows. So both of the back windows have this feature. And if I want this back down, I can send that right back down. It's quite nice. And look at the feel and the luxury of this. And it feels tight. Very, very stable, nicely put together, beautiful, beautiful. The car really belongs in a museum. I mean, it's like a work of art. Very, very nice. Now, this control has a lot less functionality than the Tesla rear control has. It's really seat heaters, temperature control, and rear shade control. Beyond that, it doesn't have anything else. It's just sunshade and climate, that's it. Which is nice, but I do like that the Tesla allows you to control music, go on YouTube or whatever you want in their larger rear display panel. And another thing that's neat is you actually have 2 USB-C power plugs or adapter plugs right here under this, and it's built into the handle section, which is wild because usually you would see these plugs on more of a stationary aspect of the component. So the fact that they put these USB-Cs in the movable lid is actually quite impressive. I haven't seen that before, so I like that a lot. Much like the Tesla, the glass is incredible. It feels amazing, especially as a passenger in the back. You just feel at ease back here. Beautiful tinting, so you don't feel like the sun is beating down on you even during a sunny day. You've got the side sunshades and incredibly comfortable in the back. If I was always going to be in a Lucid, I would just want to be back here and just fall asleep, which I have fallen asleep in the back of this car before. It's really nice. Another thing too is usually the latches here would be just your regular stainless color, but they actually matte black this. I'm not sure how long it'll last as the door opens and closes over time, but it looks nice. It really takes sort of the potential eyesore away of a big stainless notch right here. Now, one thing that I will say I love, and this is where we get to reveal what number vehicle this is, again delivered the 3rd week of January in Q1 here. This vehicle, which we're told they were delivered approximately sequentially in the number that the vehicle is, but this Lucid Dream Edition right here has its model number right here, or make number. It is make number 214. So this is the 214th Lucid, and I like this because it's textured too. It feels really neat, feeling your number there. But really, I mean, look at this attention to detail. And even this, I mean, usually people don't pay attention to this part of the car right here. This is just, you know, where your feet step over. Like, who cares about this? Nobody sees this part unless the door is open. But look at this. This is beautiful. I mean, what incredible engineering to have this so gorgeous and complete right here. Really, this is what makes the Lucid different from a Tesla. It is all of this extra attention to detail. That might mean less profit for investors, but for an end user, this is incredible. So this is the Lucid Air Dream Edition. You know they've taken a lot of inspiration from Tesla, even to the design of their keys, which they've made even sleeker than the Tesla ones, though a little bit less intuitive. Some of the features are not as polished, such as Alexa or even the navigation. Things a little less responsive on the software side. We saw the auto park, not yet at prime time. We don't yet have that cruise control or some of the autopilot features. Though on a hardware side, folks, this vehicle is a work of art. It feels like it belongs in a museum. If somebody's looking for attention to detail, this is where you are spending money and getting your money's worth on the look, the feel, the comfort, the fit and finish, the details by the door trims, the stitching in the car, the different use of materials to really make you feel comfortable, and the space in the back. Really incredible vehicle. It's fast, it's got all the power you need. There's no reason you need to get the extra 0.3 of a second out of the Tesla. This is a phenomenal vehicle, and it carries the luxuries that a car of this caliber should, which unfortunately I do think that the Tesla Model S has really skimped out on some areas. Now we know the Tesla Model S was going for speed, so it doesn't have the door motors on doors to pull the door shut like this vehicle does. It doesn't have the self-presenting doors like the Model X does. It doesn't have the motor to open or close the front like the Lucid here does. And by far the biggest reason to potentially buy a Tesla over the Lucid, the self-driving. The Autopilot is phenomenal. This video is obviously not a video about the Tesla Autopilot, and eventually this is expected to have Autopilot style features, but if that's not important to you, then hey, maybe the Tesla's not the right vehicle. If Autopilot is, right now, seems like the winner is Tesla. But most importantly, if somebody is really looking for getting the most bang for their buck, the highest level of quality, and they want a head turner of a car, I think this car is absolutely a contender. You've got a head turning vehicle with quality that does not disappoint from the outside to the inside. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, consider sharing the video.